good to be alive right about now. And now we are joined by the film guru, Dusty Evely. Say hello, Dusty.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey,
the
man.
Film Phenom is what Jay called him earlier. I love that nickname better, the Film Phenom, because the guy breaks down tape
Most people.
for you. Like, no, I mean, the American Dream from Dusty Rhodes on wrestling, or what?
Yeah, that'd be kind of dope. I mean, when you guys called me, my ringtone is the X-Files theme. So, I mean, you can use that, I guess. That's what I hear when you guys call me. So, it's fitting, I suppose.
That's actually what we use for our fantasy files, because we use it as the X-Files Fantasy Files theme, so we use that for our Fantasy Files themes on Tuesdays.
Are you telling me
Right,
that we have a ringtone for you, Dusty?
I mean, it's really a ringtone for everybody, but you can...
Oh.
That's fine.
All right, I got to get straight to it. I've seen your emotional abuse on this. Man, the cutting of Mike Daniels, I got to say it. It was sad. No one, everyone saw it coming. But the thing is, it's just the whole thing of, I guess, when it was supposed to be done. I guess no one was really prepared for when it was supposed to happen, but we all knew it was coming at some point.
I mean, I knew, his contract's up after this year. I knew he wasn't back next year. Just the way everything went, there was then, especially with the money they spent and his age, I knew there was no way he's back next year. I didn't think for a second he was going to be cut before this year. I kept believing we're going into this year with Daniels. This was the last year, so I was really, I was happy to see one more year. We get that last big hoorah. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to Cobb and Daniels in the same off season. But here we are.
Well, I don't mean to be mean, but we kind of called it here on First and Goal.
He's fragile.
The minute the draft, and we saw that Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Kiki, who is on the show on Tuesday, and Dusty, he is an intense, ready-to-go individual. Oh, my God. But and then you look at the who they signed in the Smith boys, and you just look at the overall roster on the defensive front seven and the depth, and the only guy that doesn't fit the mold of the body type that everybody else is universal was Daniels. And then you consider that he's been injured 2 years in a row, and he's a high cap hit and a 30-year-old player. We just, as much as we liked him, and we really liked him
I love Daniels. He's a great dude.
It just, when you look at it from an organizational standpoint and with the new roster, he was the guy we kind of had pegged right away that we thought he was going to be traded or let go before the end of preseason. You can go back and listen to the tape, but that's what we thought.
Well, this is what I'll say about the Daniels not fitting the mold, because I said this. There was the Silverstein article that came out a couple months ago now, 2 or 3 months ago now. Well, he talked about the same thing about how, I don't know, man, Daniels' body type. There's a reason why Daniels' body type, but they don't have anyone else like that, is because there's very few guys in the league that have a body type like Daniels that can do what Daniels does. Like, to me, that didn't speak too much of this is what the organization's looking at. Like, I can name, it's Daniels, and it's Aaron Donald, and it's Geno Atkins are the three guys that are essentially that body type that can do things, because it's rare. Like, I don't think drafting those guys is necessarily a sign that, well, this is who we're going for now. That's kind of the way a lot of guys go. It's just Daniels is a rare human, I guess, rare athlete at that size.
He's very agile for being a big guy, of course.
Right, and I get all the points about the depth, but also the depth also isn't great. Like, you're hoping for a lot of guys to take a leap. Yeah, Kenny Clark is obviously a monster. Let it not go unnoticed here that Clark also missed a couple of games with injury last year as well. Lowry just got paid, and I like that.
That was kind of the nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah, right. But that's the thing. Like you say, Daniels missed time. Okay, Clark also missed time. Lowry's fine. I like Lowry just fine. I think he got paid. That's awesome. There's been noise about Montravius Adams. We haven't seen Adams do anything. I don't expect rookies to come out and do a whole lot, whether that's Kiki or Gary. I give them like a year. Lancaster looked good at the end of last year, but to me, there's a whole lot of questions, especially if one single piece goes down. I don't feel good about the defensive line suddenly. I liked what they were doing, and I felt like the draft with some of these guys you're building for next year, and you kind of keep the status quo this year. You keep Daniels and Clark up this year. But now they don't have that. You're banking on a whole lot of guys to take that leap this year, and they have something in mind for the money. I totally get it. I just don't particularly feel comfortable with where the depth is at now. I wish that I was. And you got some rotational guys. You talked about, the Smiths and obviously Za'Darius Smith more than Preston Smith. They're going to kind of rotate inside a little bit more, and Gary they're going to rotate inside a little more. I don't know. I don't love the depth on the line. They've got some guys that if everything breaks could be good. That could be a really good line. Or everything could fall apart just as easily.
Well, you actually just named what I was going to bring up is Daniels. He was agile for a big guy. He had that very few body types, like you said, but he wasn't versatile in playing those swap positions on one single drive. You can get everybody else to go in and out on certain positions without a hitch on those. I'm not saying they're going to come in and perform right away, but I'm just saying that versatility, I think, is what kind of maybe, in my eyes, kind of kicked it because of the fact he couldn't play two or more positions.
I think you can move him inside outside. He's not a stand-up guy. I mean, he's not going to be. I think he's a little more versatile than people give him credit for. I think he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not necessarily going to be an every down nose tackle, but we've seen him line up over center and be fine, play to play. I get it. And I think with Pettine, Pettine kind of messing around a little bit more, and he wants that versatility, which is good. One of the things that I think I take issue with some of that, I love the versatility. I love what Pettine can do. I love what Pettine has done, or what he did last year, especially with the garbage remains that he was left with by the end.
Yeah.
If you get a whole bunch of guys that are, this guy can do this and this guy can also do this, it's really cool because you can mix and match, but you don't have necessarily guys that are really good at one thing. You get this kind of this hybrid athlete, the hybrid guys you're bringing in that you're kind of building around. If you don't have a guy that's this guy's an inside linebacker, this guy is your defensive end, that he can move in for a snap or two, this is his position. If you focus on kind of the flexibility and versatility, which on paper I really, really like, you also lose some of it's really hard to learn a skill and be very, very good at it in the NFL. And you lose some of that if all you focus on is just straight versatility. I'm not saying that's not what you said. And that's not
I was just saying it was a factor. I wasn't saying the main one. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it, and I'm sad. That's basically what it's
I know. I guess we had to pull on your heartstrings.
I will say this, Dusty. I believe, and part of why I believe Daniels was the odd man out was, I think last year what we saw was both with the GM and with the first-year defensive coordinator, they were hamstrung by what they could do in year one. You can only do so much in 1 year, especially when you still had the same old head coach with his own ideas and philosophies of how a roster should be built, right? And so
right.
I think we're going to see a much different style of defense the way the roster's built this year. And what
the floor is giving him the free reign.
Right. My point is I think we're going to see more of that old Jets and Baltimore type defense, where really it's centered around Kenny Clark playing that zero technique down in and down out, even on pass rushing downs because he has pass rush ability. He's the stalwart rock. And I think the idea then is Martinez is your rock in the as middle linebacker because I think, like you were saying, I think that fits his bill. And I also think Preston Smith is a rock on the way he plays, and he's not going to move around. So I think there's at least three positions there on the defense where you, with your point, are going to be solid. I think everything else is kind of going to be designed to be very interchangeable. Even the secondary, if you look at the way the secondary is built, it's a very amoebic style defense that can mold week to week and really change, so there's not a easy way to find what they do or who does what on film. And yet you still have a few of those pieces, like you were saying, that are centered and solid and solidify the defense, so there's some sort of foundation to build on, and everything ain't just a piece of clay molding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to that point as well, man. I know I just talked about versatility, and it sounds like I hate it, which I don't. I mean, when I think of, I mean, you guys know me. I do focus on the offensive side of the ball. When I focus on the offensive side of the ball, you're looking at that versatility. I mean, not necessarily with your linemen, but with everyone else. Because if you can go up tempo and you can go no huddle and you can catch those mismatches, you can just destroy teams. If you can be versatile to some extent, like you said, you've got your rocks, you've got your whatever. If you can be versatile on defense, you can kind of match up against those teams that can kind of run at you, and those mismatches aren't the mismatches you thought. And so I know one of the guys I'm really kind of excited about, and he showed up today, and kind of hyped, I guess, and I'm kind of excited about, was Josh Jones, who, did the trade. And you've got your two safeties. You got your two safeties that are your guys, and you got Jones, who can rotate back occasionally and also kind of play down. And that's kind of, I mean, to me, Jones is kind of the X factor in some of that stuff as well. And then he can play a couple different positions and hopefully cover a tight end for once in the past.
I just don't trust his coverage. That's my thing. Oh, God.
I don't either, but we just got done watching Kentrell Bryce all year, so like I trust him more than Kentrell Bryce. So I mean, it's relative, right?
I'll try Oren Burks in his second year over Jones, in my opinion, but that's just me.
No, I would as well. But if you're trying to kind of play against the matchups and you need kind of maybe an extra safety or a light inside linebacker, I like Jones. But
Trey Boston is still out there.
How is Trey Boston still out there? That's insane to me.
I don't know.
I don't get it either. But Dusty, would you agree with me now? Maybe with this move now freeing up some space, and I know they're looking a forward too. One of my other post-draft things was, I believe that before week 3 of the preseason, there was going to be at least 3 veterans aged 27 to 30 years old brought in on kind of 1-year low veteran deals to help solidify depth. Not necessarily starters, but solidify depth. Do you see that more of a legitimate possibility now that they've freed up some money, and some things to do? Because you don't have to use a lot of money when you're talking about the type of signings at the point in free agency we're at.
I don't have anyone in mind. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, obviously, if they do. You kind of see where you're at. You kind of see what's going on. You see that, a handful of times anyway. You get some maybe guys going down for the season the first day of practice, which thank God didn't happen today. But you kind of see where you're at.
I have one, if you don't mind me. I don't mean to interrupt, but I have one that actually, if he's healthy, Muhammad Wilkerson.
I kind of just assume he's gone.
Really? You don't think? If he was healthy, do you think on a vet minimum deal, not a 5-year like last year, just a vet minimum, and give him a shot in training camp to see if he can beat out the youngins? That's just me, because he's familiar with Pettine's defense still, because he's played in it before, and he had an unfortunate injury, which was one of the worst kind. But I don't know. I'd like to see him come back. That's just me.
I don't know. I wouldn't be upset. But I also wouldn't be like, oh, good, this is the guy. Like, it's either, I mean, you do get a little more depth on.
Oh yeah, of course he's not the guy. Just like what Jay said, under the radar signing.
If they get him for ridiculously cheap, that minimum, yeah, why not? Yeah, take a shot on him. Have at it.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
I actually have to mention, how do you feel? I've seen Maggie Loney bring this up before, and I know you work with her. I'm not